Happen for you guys?
Why?
Only was like, let's fucking go.
We're live, pal.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, almost the middle of October. You can feel the intensity in the air. You can feel the tension in the air because we are in the midst of the MLB playoffs, the divisional rounds of the playoffs. I'm sorry, this completely caught me off guard. We're in the middle of a bunch of shit going down. We've got fantasy football trades. We've got MLB playoffs. Live reaction to me watching the New York Yankees versus the Kansas City Royals right now in a tied series in Kansas City for Game 3, and a whole bunch of toxic shit going on in our group chats for fantasy football.
That
apart from the trades, it's all happening. It's all going down. We had all summer to prepare for this, for what was coming. And now we're 6 weeks in. We have some answers. We have more questions than answers. And alongside me, wearing the On the Money Sports gear for this season, shout out to Danny, the On the Money Sports League champion, is none other than Oscar O. Money.
I don't know what to tell you. But
what can you say?
It is what it is. The Phillies are just crushing my soul. I knew this was going to happen, but I was the crazy one, right?
Oh, Volpe just got on base. Good shit, Volpe. Well,
we're live, guys, so get your asses in. Let's go.
Did you know it was going to happen? Because I remember you.
I told you I did not want to play them.
The infamous words of Oscar O'Money, ring the bell. They've come back to haunt you. Nice speech, Salah. Stay classy. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for checking in.
I didn't get to see what his statement was. I'm sorry.
It was classy. Definitely more classy than the Jets and their situation, which, I mean, at the top of the show, I guess that's pretty much the big news of the week. On top of just so much going on, playoff baseball, fantasy football implications heading into week 6, big Thursday night matchup coming around the corner. The news that broke yesterday of Robert Salah getting unceremoniously ousted from the New York Football Jets facilities.
Got escorted out of the building.
Got escorted out of the building by security. I figured that would be the best place to start for tonight's podcast because I wanted to get this guy's thoughts next to me. Someone who, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and when it comes to the New York Football Jets, whether it's good, bad, or ugly as far as the take goes, he always has something to say about the Jets.
I thought it was interesting. Hey, I picked the Jets to go to the playoff. Remember, 2 years ago, I thought they were going to the to the AFC Championship.
They are my division champion.
Aaron had the nerve to go on Pat McAfee's show today and say, I had nothing to do with that. Nothing. Right.
No, he said he was blindsided.
Blindsided.
He was blindsided.
And for those who think who think I had a control in this, you're fools or something like that.
You were blindsided, dude. He was unceremoniously ousted. They took his keyboard from his computer.
They escorted that man out of the building.
They smashed the mouse with the freaking hammer while he was trying to use it. They changed the passwords on his login. Told him to get the hell out of here. Threw him out in the back alley. New York Football Jets firing Robert Salah right after the trip to London where Aaron Rodgers proceeded to throw 3 interceptions against the Minnesota Vikings.
Was throwing those picks.
However, we are getting more as far as that story goes. There's more to it than just the firing of Robert Salah. More is coming out from within the organization. The Jets are not good as far as keeping secrets. And the rumor mill is saying that Salah was going to end up firing Nathaniel Hackett had he not been fired. So maybe this was a chess move by the organization to keep Aaron Rodgers happy for now and get rid of the guy who was about to get rid of his guy. And not only was he about to fire Nathaniel Hackett, he was going to promote none other than Todd Downing, former OC of the Tennessee Titans, to the offensive coordinator position, which, I mean, when you think about it all, it's pretty wild. Like, how many people...
I want to torture myself real fast.
Are you going to put this crap on? All right, let me put the Yankees on my phone on.
It was only going to be real quick because it's 2 outs, top of the ninth.
2 outs, top of the ninth right now. Runners on the corners for the Philadelphia Phillies.
The second best team in the NL is about to just
Both games are happening right now. Down in the beer for anxiety.
Right down the middle, get a slider. What does it matter?
We got a runner on second and third. Bryson Stott looks like he stole a base. Schwarber can definitely make something happen with one swing of the bat here against Diaz, who they got a lot of balls putting him out there for the close in this matchup. Johnson begged Riddick to show up after it all.
He's already thrown 21 pitches.
Begging Riddick? Is Riddick back at camp yet? Serge, what's going on, bro? Shout out to Elite
We're probably
8.
on delay, so it's probably over already.
Shout out to
I
Elite
just want to
8.
watch it end. It's funny because the Phillies, after being limited today, have since going to the World Series.
Every round. They
have
like one
gone
round.
down. Yes.
Yeah.
It has been a backwards
and also,
trend.
no, since the new playoff format, no NL team that has had the first round bye has been successful in winning their next series on the NL side. So, history not working in their favor.
Not on the National League side.
Not on that side. History is not working in their favor, and right now we've got a 1-2 count. Diaz up against Schwarber, none other than Wawa himself.
Count.
Live reaction to the game as we sit here, and Schwarber strikes out to end the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. Ring the bell on the Philadelphia Phillies season, ladies and gentlemen. They are done. They are eliminated by the Mets. 3-1, the New York Mets. That's right. The New York Metropolitans, ladies and gentlemen, are advancing to the National League Championship Series. I know that I've got a lot of family members who are probably loving this right now. The blue and orange is flowing. They did it at home in Citi Field, something that they haven't seen out there in Citi Field for a very long time. The New York Mets are advancing to the NLCS, awaiting the winner of the Los Angeles Dodgers and San Diego Padres series, which is going to go down in about an hour, I think. That's right. 4 playoff matchups, MLB postseason matchups going down today on podcast day while we're ready to try to talk and preview football, while we're ready to talk fantasy. So much happening right now. Congratulations to the Mets. Nick Castellanos with his too tight ponytail staring at the field right now. Has nothing better to do but to watch the New York football Mets, the New York baseball Mets celebrate their victory.
I want all of them to sit out there. I want all of them to sit and watch this and realize what just took place.
And it looks like that's exactly what they will be doing.
2 of them should be gone. I would trade Marsh. I'd trade Castellanos. I'd trade Alec Bohm.
The internet has got to be asking for Rob Thompson's head as we speak, because throughout the entirety of the game,
Hoffman
in my
has
group
struggled
chats,
since game 1, and he keeps sticking them out there.
Yeah, he got bodied in the last game too.
So it's like, what are you doing?
In all of my group chats, the conversations were bad coaching, not a good idea leaving this guy out there, setting him up for failure. The fact that the Phillies got themselves out of bases loaded in the first 2 innings, Ranger Suarez put himself in the worst situations possible and still managed to get out of it mostly unscathed. And then you have
Ranger pitched a decent game.
The grand slam from Francisco Lindor.
You wasted Zach Wheeler's performance game 1.
Absolutely no run support by the Phillies offense. None whatsoever. Nothing from the bottom of the lineup. No contributions whatsoever from the bottom of the lineup on that baseball team.
They didn't deserve to win.
Now
they got a whole offseason.
You're getting the
stop
live
talking about we're this, we're that. You're nothing now. You honestly.
Let's go Volpe. And the Yankees are now taking a 2-0 lead over the Royals right now.
Not best as the hunted. The Phillies play better as the hunter. It's just the fact of the matter.
They got to find that hunger again. It's like when Mr. T beat up Rocky, and then Apollo had to come to the gym and just remind him about the eye of the
Topper's
tiger.
got to go.
You think?
I've seen too much, 2 years in a row. Last year, not managing Rojas right.
Topper's got to go. We've gone from ring the bell, we're going to win the World Series, to now Topper has got to go.
He's been on my short list, too, because...
Can't believe I lost 100 to this team. That's regular season shit, dog. You shouldn't have made that bet.
Why? What happened?
The bet between Mikey and Noli of who was going to end with most wins, the Phillies won it by a game against the Yankees. Phillies had one more regular season win than New York Yankees.
At the end of the day, Topper was soured on me last year when he refused to take Rojas out in games 5, 6, and 7. Oh, he worried about defense.
Was that the first?
Isn't gonna matter.
Was that the first thing for you, like
Like,
the
I
strike
popped in
one,
my head, like,
the proverbial
all right,
strike
bro.
one.
And then this postseason, you continuously put Hoffman out there to struggle.
What's up, Drewski? Come on, Judge, give me something, bro.
So
You gotta give me
changes
something,
need
Judge.
to be made for this team.
I mean, they were lethargic. They were just mulling through the second half of the season. They didn't have the fire underneath them. They weren't generating runs. The Phillies pitching was consistent for the majority of the season. Down go the Phils as everybody's checking in for the first couple of minutes of On the Money podcast.
However,
we have so much going on right now.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I think baseball wants an all Subway Series. I think that's what they want.
I think the Mets are just taking it right now. The Mets have the hunger that you guys had.
The Mets are the hottest team in the
playoffs. The Mets
I said
have
this a week ago on this podcast when I said the Mets are the 2022 Phillies.
The Mets have the hunger that you guys had when you went to Atlanta and took that series from the Atlanta Braves. Somewhere along the line, you guys forgot that shit. And now, what we just talked about, it's been a steady regression for the Philadelphia Phillies. It's World Series, lost. NLCS, lost.
And now Division Series.
ALDS
What's
with a
next?
bye,
The wild
lost.
card round next year?
So they're getting further removed from what the actual goal was for this baseball team. And this is the window for this team. Philadelphia sports, I want you to know, the team that had the best shot to bring you a championship anytime soon just got eliminated by the New York Mets.
Luckily for them, this is
the
baseball,
Phillies were your only hope.
And they still got another shot next year. That's the sick part. Because
well, how many of these players are going to stay next year? Because a lot of these guys that are in the lineup right now, they haven't been doing shit for a couple of weeks.
I think you make the correct moves.
You got to move some monies around.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be a team to reckon with.
That's went cold in August when they needed to heat up the most.
The pitching staff's in place.
Best team in the playoffs. Best record in baseball. All that stuff. None of that matters now.
The New York
best record in baseball doesn't matter. They're the hottest team in the playoffs. They're the hottest team. Right now, the San Diego Padres are a freaking problem. Fernando Tatis is the hottest hitter in baseball right now. Fernando Tatis has 4 home runs. He's coming up in the clutch for his team, and he has the opportunity, just like the Mets did, where they snuck in, they got into the wild card, they got past the first round, and they are about to eliminate another NL team that had the bye, and none other than the Los Angeles Dodgers. I have a feeling that the Padres could potentially eliminate the Dodgers tonight unless my boy Ohtani just goes out there and has the spectacular game of a lifetime. But these Padres are just as hot as the New York Mets.
My favorite time of the day.
They just fly under the radar because of the fact that they're a West Coast team, and here on this side, we're not paying attention that much to what's going on. But I've been watching those games. I've been making money off the Tatis home runs. And the Padres, with their pitching, with their hitting, they right now look like the most complete team. And not too far behind them are the New York Mets. And it's crazy to think about because a month and a half ago, we weren't having this conversation about the Mets or the Padres as far as them not only getting into the playoffs, but the damage that they were going to do when they got there. Like nobody was afraid of them, you know? As they show the replay of Lindor hitting the grand slam. Estevez, the guy that the Phillies went out and paid money because that was going to be their closer.
This is Kevin
That's all I
Nagani
heard.
of ESPN.
Estevez allowing the grand slam that gave the Mets pretty much the series.
Yep. So Kevin Nagani of ESPN, Dave Dombrowski will have plenty to work to do. Phillies cannot run this back, not with so many holes in the line. Get some grinders who know how to manufacture runs with situational hitting and taking pitches, and fix the bullpen.
Andrew sitting here talking shit on the Yankees because Phillies fans got nothing better to do but talk shit on the Yankees now. You spent the whole season focusing on the Yankees, and even though you guys are done, you're gone, you're out of the playoffs, you're still talking Yankees.
So let's see what else we got. And Grimace is having a resurgence.
What Grimace did for the New York Mets is just freaking unbelievable. Nice catch, Judge. Nice catch. Clark Schmidt doing his job so far. Up against Kansas City in Kansas City. Huge matchup on the AL side. We saw the Detroit Tigers take a 2-1 lead over the Cleveland Guardians. Detroit having their first playoff game in a decade in Detroit. They go in there, a 3-0 shutout of the Cleveland Guardians, a Guardians team that for a while this year, like they had the best record in baseball.
Bengals had
They had
a
the argument.
player meeting only today.
Let's talk about how, let's
After cornerback Mike Hilton acknowledged that the unit is struggling.
Well, there's a lot of
struggling isn't the word.
There's a lot of Bengals faithful that are calling for the head of the DC out there because they're getting tired of the old bend don't break. And guess what picture I saw posted in Cincinnati sports
pages? This will make you happy. Spencer Rattler on Chris Olave. I'll make it a key point when he's in to get him the damn ball.
Somebody has to.
Look at your face.
Oh, man, that was a rough watch. I was down to Nick by 0.4 points going into the second half of the matchup. No, I won.
No.
But Olave only scored 2 points. So he made the catch that I needed to win. And then after that, he did nothing.
So if it wasn't for Shahid's big-ass play, you would have lost to my dad?
If it wasn't for Shahid's play, I would have potentially lost to the Riverboats, and that would have stung because my win-loss record against your father is bad. Like the last couple of years, I've been able to get to him. I've been able to get one from him, but he always manages to just – his guys all go off on the same week.
I know he was excited about the news about Hawkinson.
TJ? Yeah, TJ is potentially going to be coming back. Wild throw by the Yankees as Kansas City is able to get a runner on first with 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. You're getting the live reaction to what's going on.
Everyone tonight.
Live reaction to the Phillies being eliminated. Live reaction to the Yankees and the Royals, which is going down right now. That's the watch along that we've got going on. We're giving you the fantasy. We're giving you the emotions. We're giving you the breakdown for the NFL this week. Another London game.
On that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a lucky bounce.
Because that shit should have went into the stands.
Yeah. I know.
Kansas City still got the waterfall.
Volpe was no, but I remember in the old game in Super Nintendo, they had it, which is why I always like picking their ballpark to play in, no matter what team I pick. Because they had the waterfall, and like back in the day, that was like a big big deal. Yeah, like that was a big deal back in the day. Like seeing the waterfall.
Boone is still gonna be the manager next year.
Aaron Boone right now is chewing his sunflower seeds, anxiety through the roof. I had 3 teams over 215 points this week. Oof. Well, I hope it's not your sick picks team this week because I'm trying to keep my winning streak intact. I'm the 7th seed right now. We go head-to-head in sick picks.
Bro,
you've been beating me up in all the other leagues, so I'm hoping that I can repay the favor this week and I can get you and continue my winning streak.
Pittman on IR so I can free up the spot?
Well, they're an interesting story right now. They started Flacco last week.
Yep, and won.
Anthony Richardson did practice today, but Joe Flacco went out there and threw for like 350 passing yards. And if you're the head coach, if you're Shane Steichen, you're looking at the situation and you're saying to yourself, damn, like, which one of these quarterbacks really gives us the best shot to win? On top of the fact that you're about to go up against a defense that's very good in the Tennessee Titans. Are you going to keep Flacco in there? Or are you going to plug in Anthony Richardson? And then the other question I have is, okay, let's say you start Anthony Richardson. How long before we see Flacco again? Like, because if Flacco doesn't start this week, I still feel like it won't be long before we end up seeing Flacco because he's going to come back. He's never going to go away.
Well, here's the thing.
He's Kang the Conqueror. Like, he's mastered time.
The Titans' defense could potentially take that man out.
Titans are the number 1 pass defense in the NFL, whether anybody wants to believe it or not. Go look at the track record. Go look at what Snead's been able to do against the number 1 wide receivers in the league. It's not our defense that was losing us those football games early. This is our first division game coming up against the Indianapolis Colts. And we're both trying to play that chess game of, oh, who are we going to start? We don't know which quarterback we're going to go with. Oh, like, you'll find that on Saturday. But it's definitely...
Y'all still talking about tanking? Listen, I openly told y'all MFers 2 years ago when we started Kingpins that I was tanking it, and none of y'all cried about it at all. Y'all just stood quiet and let me do it. And now y'all crying because somebody else is doing it in another league? Listen, take your tampons out.
I am 0-5.
And focus on your teams.
I am 0-5 in Kingpins. I definitely was trying to win this week. Unfortunately, I left Tank Bigsby. I left Tank's Bigsby on the bench, and he dropped like 39 points. That was rough for me to see. But also another part of me, someone who's been pounding the table for Tank Bigsby the entire summer.
Feelings like chicks.
Like, I've been telling you guys, Tank Bigsby is that guy out there. All the Travis Etienne lovers out there, how did it feel this week to see Tank Bigsby go out there and get a 74-yard touchdown run right down the middle, right down the gut of the field?
Yeah.
And
now with the rumors of
get the bonus points.
Travis Etienne being on the trade block.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is
fair ball.
That's a fair ball. The crazy thing is
Dude,
that
you want to grab it?
With those rumors, it's funny because it's like we heard about this Devontae Adams injury that's going on. And
do that one more time.
The injury with him. So now we're hearing about the Etienne shoulder, right? Like we got a shoulder situation going on, but we've also got a trade deadline coming in the NFL. And it's looking like the negotiations are stalling to a point where they can't get a deal done before this weekend's slate. So Devontae Adams on a Wednesday has already been ruled out of this Sunday's game.
And I'm not mad.
Will we see the same for Travis Etienne? As the Royals get a big hit, and it is now a 2-1 ball game.
Ooh, right down the middle, you just looked at
2 outs left. 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Michael Massey up to bat right now for the Royals. Tension running high. The intensity of MLB playoff baseball. First time in history that all 4 ALDS matchups were at 1-1. All four matchups going down today. More matchups going down tomorrow. Game 4 of our matchup is going down tomorrow.
The Guardians win today?
Dylan, remember when I said Mets in 4 and you said I'm delusional? Am I still delusional? I mean, nobody knows
Detroit
better.
Or Cleveland?
Detroit. I was saying earlier.
So
Detroit took a
3-1.
2-1.
2-1.
They're up 2-1 with
another rival, man.
Another opportunity to get a win in
for
Detroit.
Bigsby. I would do it for Bigsby.
Would you drop Giants Singletary for Bigsby or Dallas Dowdle? Tank
At this point, it looks like Tank's going to be getting the ball.
Tank is that guy.
But if you have ETN owners, I think
guy.
ETN gets traded.
Cowboys. What up, Freddie?
We gave you listen.
That late ass game. Finished at 1 a.m.
It happened. You guys won. Y'all kept giving us the game. Y'all gave us 3 turnovers and a blocked field goal, and we still couldn't get the job done. So you won. I'll give you that.
They were playing hot potato with that game for sure. Because Dallas, if anything, what stood out to me in that game was Rico Dowdle. I think that was the Rico Dowdle breakout game on Sunday night, late night, for the Cowboys versus Steelers.
Oh, shit.
Oh my God! Goodness. He missed the fucking ball! You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! You missed the ball! Fuck you! Come on, man! Damn it!
We have live reaction here.
It's a 2-2 ball game because he missed the fucking catch that he was supposed to make.
Who was that, Soto?
That was Soto. Dove too early. It's a 2-2 ball game right now in Kansas City. I'm not going to calm down because the Yankees still have something to play for, unlike the Philadelphia Phillies. We're still in this series right now. Damn it. Come on, man. They're getting Schmidt out of there. He pitched a great game. I can't blame him for what just happened right there. You got to make that catch.
Even if you don't make the catch, at least stop the ball.
You got to make that catch. This is the intensity of playoff baseball. It's been a tit for tat with this matchup right here. Every time we do something, the Royals respond and vice versa. And it's a 2-2 ball game. We still got one more ball game to go tonight. The Padres and the Dodgers. Another game 4.
The Dodgers will lose.
I don't even know who their pitcher is tonight because they don't even have a pitcher for tonight. I think that in their minds, they were like, this could be the Ohtani game. But then they lose the last game and they say to themselves, we're not going to get cute with this. Like, we're not going to have Ohtani go out there. Instead, we're going to have our depleted bullpen just
well, that bullpen's going to get rocked.
They are going to get rocked, yo. Because what do you like? How do you pitch to Tatis right now?
I really can't. You know what I can picture? Here's the early. Do I think it's going to? Do I think
I'm as delusional as Aaron Rodgers not knowing Salah was getting fired? Oh,
I think this is a bold prediction. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. This is one of them snazzy bold predictions. I predict the Phillies are going to jettison a couple key players, and they're going to go all in on Juan Soto.
Maybe.
I think in their minds, if they go all in on Juan Soto, that's going to cure all their problems. That's just me.
So if you go all in, you're going to have to back up the Brinks truck. So everybody who in
Whoever
2024 is still
$500 million is going to take. He's going to get a bigger contract than Ohtani.
Mm.
That is 100% definite.
So Ohtani's was what, 700 million?
I think he's going to get at least 500. Look at Pat.
What up, Chris? We got a ball game, folks. We definitely got a ball game here. The intensity levels through the roof. Pat Mahomes.
That's why I just traded you, you bum.
In the Kansas City Royals jersey, talking shit to his friend who's in his New York Yankees stuff. And his friend looking like he was going to square up with him. It's live out there right now in Kansas City. It's going down, bro. It is going down.
Look at his wife.
You know, a team that last year lost like 120-something games is back into the mix right now. By far their biggest inning of the game.
Is Bobby Witt going to do it? Is Bobby Witt going to bring in the go-ahead run here in the bottom half of the fifth inning?
Throwing the ball, but they aren't clearing him to pitch an actual game. So he technically hasn't been cleared.
Yeah, he has been. I've been watching that.
He has not been cleared officially.
Their mind consumption thinks the World Series. I told you the Dodgers still weren't going to get to a World Series with Ohtani.
Well, I don't.
And guess
think
what?
that,
it's not going to get any better next year because all their pitchers are old.
Well, their pitchers are not good.
And they're not good.
That's the thing. Like, their pitchers are not good.
In the playoffs, you need. Here's the recipe to win in the playoffs. Pitching, and I'm talking about good, sound pitching and a good bullpen.
Consistent hitting.
And clutch hitting. Power hitting isn't going to win games.
Move the runners over. I mean, look what the Tigers played an amazing situational baseball game earlier today.
That's just it. That's how playoff baseball goes.
I don't think they got a home run.
Way to a win.
Like, I don't think they got a home run. It was all situational hitting, how they moved their runners over. They were able to, score the 3 runs that they got. And then they were able to also get the support from
they weren't pitching to him.
The Tigers pitching.
That was a intentional, unintentional walk.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't.
That was, we're not going to unintentionally walk you, but we're going to walk you.
He wasn't trying to do that right there. Can't really blame him for that.
Nah.
We just got to get the hell out of this inning before any more with minimal damage in this situation.
Emotional damage.
2-2 ball game here. Definitely a sweat here in the bottom.
Phillies ain't making me stressed for the rest of the year, so I'm good. Last year I was more distraught.
That stress has already been eliminated from the equation.
Last year I was distraught.
Kershaw should retire at the end of the season.
I remember after they lost the Diamondbacks, I just stared and looked at the screen.
It's definitely
depressed.
Hall of
but
Famer.
now
it's just
I'm okay with it. Like, you know what it is? I knew it was coming. So when you know something's coming, you're not mad.
Phillies fans knew what the flaws were. They just weren't bringing up the flaws on the nights where you guys were winning. But you knew what the flaws were. The flaws were evident in the second half of the season. You got to
rework the lineup.
And to an extent,
you got to get guys who are going to get on base. You got to get guys.
The writing was on the wall. You were also going to be going up against, in your first matchup of the playoffs, one of the hottest teams to enter the playoffs, alongside the Padres. To me.
Maybe this is finally the Padres' year.
And you look back on it, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Before the wild card started, I was saying how a lot of the smart marks of the baseball world were picking the Padres to go to the World Series. And it was one of those things where it's like, damn, like these guys really not only got hot at the right time, but you really see the construction of that team and you see their pitching. And even without Musgrove, who's probably like their third best pitcher, what they've been able to put together, along with the fact that they've been getting the run support. Like, as soon as Machado and Tatis go up to bat, good way to get out of that inning. As soon as Machado and Tatis go up to bat, like, the pitcher is going up to the mound with runs on the board, which for a lot of teams, it's like.
And now you got another pitcher from Japan coming over. That's not going to have any limitations for signing. So he's basically an unrestricted free agent.
Dodgers' best pitchers are Glasnow, who was hurt for a good portion of the year, and Yamamoto. Yamamoto, He allowed the 3-run shot, but again, it's against a red-hot baseball team.
He was out for the majority of the year, if you think, since like June. I should know.
They were all out. I mean, look,
my team started to suffer in fantasy because all those guys started getting hurt.
Like we all, like in the fantasy baseball league that we have together, like nobody was starting Dodgers pitchers this year. They were getting smacked. They were getting smacked.
I had Yoshi,
and Kershaw, Kershaw can give you like 4 innings. But at this point in time, Kershaw's arm is just gone. It's not what it was, not nearly what it was. I'm happy for him to be able to get his ring, but like to depend on Clayton Kershaw when we're talking about building these 3-man rotations for the playoff format, that's tough, man. That's tough, especially for, hey, babe. My babe's checking into the podcast right now. Is giving her thoughts. I swear, like I thought of her when I saw Hoffman warming up in the 2nd and the 3rd. Oh, look at that. Fuck the Phillies, go Yankees. That's what I'm talking about. How many more of you are going to join the dark side before the night is over? How many more of you are going to realize who's going to be able to bring it home? Love you, babe. Chris ain't feeling that. And yeah, when I saw Hoffman warming up and then you got Estevez, like I said to myself, like, damn, after Ranger Suarez was able to get himself out of the hideous situation that they were in, not just in the 1st inning, but the 2nd inning, like it was truly crazy out there. Truly insane. All hell broke loose when they got to the bullpen, it felt like. Like it really did. They held it together long enough, and I said to myself, the Mets are going to regret not being able to bring those bags home. But they kept putting guys on the bags. Like they kept giving them the first base, giving them second. And it was only a matter of time before a hot hitting team like the Mets was going to just score some runs, unlike what the Phillies were doing.
On to the next. Mets are waiting for the
What up, Rob? Thank you, babe. Love you. Drew keeping us updated on the Yankee score. He's got nothing better to do right now. This podcast has probably gone off the rails a million times, but there's just so much happening right now. It's a live reaction to what's happening on TV. Trying to slowly but surely get into the slate of the football matchups that we got for this week. We've got another London game. We got Thursday night football.
Big game tomorrow night too.
Big game.
Both teams are reeling. I mean, the Seahawks are 3-2, but they've now had back-to-back losses. The loss to Detroit and now the loss to the New York Football Giants. That's 2 NFC losses. Meanwhile, every loss that the San Francisco 49ers have taken in their 2-3 output this season, all 3 losses, Rams, Cardinals, and who was the other one? The Vikings. So you have 2 division losses and an NFC. So all 3 losses are NFC opponents. Yeah. That's going to hurt come seeding time.
Stanton swinging at bullshit like that hurts too.
So you got that going down. Seattle, who's now lost to the Detroit Lions, who, that's playoff seeding. And the New York Football Giants, for some odd reason, when the Giants go to Seattle, they beat them.
Yeah, and they got them again. They got them again this week.
Whenever they go in, not when they're in home, but when they go to Seattle, they normally beat, which is weird.
What's interesting is this new Seahawks offense is pass happy. Like Geno Smith is slanging the rock, and you're going to have to do that. Just had a
great game 2 weeks ago, and then this week it was meh.
You're going to have to throw the ball in this matchup. I feel as though this right here is the get-right game for the 49ers. You've got a division opponent that you're better than, regardless of the 49ers' flaws right now. You're better than the Seahawks. You've got 10 days rest after this matchup.
Yeah.
And I think right now with everything happening with the San Francisco 49ers and is McCaffrey coming back? Is he not coming back?
It's them.
A lot of coaches catch heat for their decision making, but I feel like it's fair to question sometimes what Kyle Shanahan's doing out there. Like not getting Debo involved enough. It's like you gave Ayuk the looks and everything this week, but then Debo's starving. So it's like you gotta figure out a way to be able to make this work to where you become that unpredictable offense that we're used to seeing out there. because you looked a little one-dimensional, and not for nothing, Kyler Murray had one of his best games of the season. The only other game I can think of was the matchup he had against the Rams, where they went and they lit them up. Kyler Murray went out there. He made it a little bit of a well, they beat him, right?
Cardinals from behind. They were losing that game.
Cardinals have wins over the 49ers and the Rams.
The first touchdown of the game was Kyler Murray putting the deuces up at the 43-yard line. At the 43-yard line, my man put the deuces up on that big run, that big touchdown run he had.
That's interesting because I don't think the Cardinals are going to win that division, but when it comes to making
that just hurt though.
When it comes to making your case for the wild card, the Cardinals have a very strong case, like fifth seed worthy, because the two teams that everyone is projecting to have a better record than you at the end of the season, you beat them both. You've got to that win over the Rams. I think, like, if the Rams don't get it together, hurts them bad. Like in the big picture, with Kupp not being there, Puka Nacua not being there,
it's just the Rams are competing. It's just they're beat up.
I think nobody was looking forward to the bye week more than the Rams were.
And
honestly.
They're still not going to get Puka back, but they should have Cooper back.
They could get Kupp, and there is a chance that Christian McCaffrey comes back, but we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
it's all up in the air. So for San Francisco, a Thursday night football game to be able to play ahead of everybody else up against a division opponent that they know well, a Seahawks team that they are clearly better than. They have the opportunity to get the win, get the 10 days off, and be able to recalibrate everything that they've have going on so that they can go into the following week and recharge and look like the NFC contender that, the majority of us, crown them to be. We crown them a top 3 NFC team because of the lineage, because of the culture, because of the talent, the coaching. And they don't look like that right now. A loss to the Arizona Cardinals, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow for this football team. We sit here and when a team wins, you're not thinking about those types of things. You notice them, but you're not thinking about them.
Still hasn't been cleared either, Rob. I was reading about that.
He has not been cleared from concussion protocol.
If the Seahawks beat the Niners tomorrow, the Seahawks put themselves in a great position to really control that division, because that would be now huge. A third division loss by the 49ers. And the Niners would be 2-4.
That's huge for the
NFC. That's
Seahawks.
not bad, but that means your margin of error is getting even lower.
It's a big win for San Francisco too, though. Like it's a big game for the West.
At that point, if the Niners lose tomorrow, which I don't think they are, but if they were to lose tomorrow, it's a big hole to come out of 2-4.
Yes, it is.
Because the Giants just did you a favor. The Giants just did y'all a favor in beating the Giants, and beating the Seahawks, and nobody thought the Giants were going to do.
And what's crazy is the 49ers, Brock Purdy's playing good.
But I didn't think Arizona wasn't going to beat the 49ers, but first drive of the game, Kyler Murray's throwing up the deuces at the 43-yard line, running in for a touchdown. Like, I've never seen that in my life before. I'm 41 years old. 41 years old. And I have never seen an opposing player put the peace sign up at the 43-yard line.
I think there's a stat.
I've never seen that.
There's a stat where he has no less than 40 rushing yards in all the games they've played so far. So it's only a matter of time before he breaks big time. There's only a matter of time before the Cardinals go off. This week the Cardinals go against the Green Bay Packers, which that right there has all the makings of a huge fantasy football matchup. On top of the fact that it's a huge wild card matchup. When you've got the Cardinals and you've got the Packers. I like
Arizona more in this matchup than I like the Packers.
Jordan Love looked rough this week.
Again, it's 2 weeks in a row.
He looked rough, dog.
The only reason I'm going to keep saying this, kudos to the Packers for winning that game, but there's nobody on offense besides Kyren Williams for the Rams. This guy is throwing footballs to Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, and Whittlesworth, something like
Whittington?
Whittington.
Whittingburst? What's his name?
Who are these guys? I know who Demarcus Robinson
Whittington
is.
is clearly a creative
Tutu
player.
Atwell at best is a number 4.
Whittington did have like 15 or 16 points this week, so Stafford is definitely peppering them, whoever they are, with targets. It's scary out there for my Super Bowl team from the NFC side right now. Very scary. Nice steal. Was that Stanton? Did Stanton just steal a base, dog? Oh, way, dog. You let the slowest motherfucker. You got the guy with no legs.
Oh, he wasn't even running hard.
Look at them. They're smiling, bro. It's a 2-2 ball game.
They're like, shit.
And yeah, Austin Wells just said, holy shit, because Stanton just stole a base. That's not a strike, dog. That's not a strike. We just got screwed out of a pitch with little Jimmy up to bat.
All right, Bret Hart.
We got screwed out of a pitch way to the right. League leaders in sacks, none other than the New York Football Giants, who will be on prime time this week going up against the Cincinnati Bengals team that is starving for a victory.
If I told you,
oh boy, here we go,
on September 1st that the New York Football Giants would have more wins than the Cincinnati Bengals, would you have believed me? Absolutely not.
That's rough. The question
Anybody here who says they would have is lying.
The question is, do they remain one game below, or 2 games below the Giants, or do they end up with the same record after Monday Night Football?
Could you?
Bengals gotta win.
The New York Giants have a chance to go to 3-3, right?
They do. We can't rule it out, man.
The New York Football Giants have a chance to go.
I got a little bit of beer left in this glass. A salute to the New York Football Giants offensive line, because the offensive line improvements are one of the things that have flown below the radar with this football team to this point. Their offensive line is not the worst in the world anymore.
Here's the thing. Joe Burrow is going to score on the Giants. Joe Burrow is going to lead touchdown drives on the Giants. It's up to Daniel Jones to take advantage of this porous secondary, and may I add, porous run defense. This may be the worst defense in the league.
It's rough. That bend don't break shit ain't working out there anymore.
It's all bend.
It's rough. It's bend, break. Bend, break. They are breaking and bending.
They're not stopping anyone.
Bengals defense cost me, -2 points, I think, this week in fantasy football. I should have switched them out, but I had Bengals and I had Titans in Dynasty. Titans were on the bye.
And not to mention that Derrick Henry almost capped it off with that run. My dad was screaming down here saying, go, because he understood what it meant.
Top 3 running back in 2024, ladies and gentlemen. None other than the freight train himself, Derrick Henry. Running all
and we had a Mark
people.
Andrews sighting this past weekend.
We did. But it's clear that Derrick Henry, if I was to tell you 2 years ago that Derrick Henry would be carrying the Ravens offense, what would you say to that? You're out of your mind. What are you talking about?
That's true. I asked,
what are you talking
me and Alex were
He's
talking
old.
about coaches that are going to get fired. I was like, well, Dave will probably get fired at the end of the year. And Alex was like, I don't know, man. All of a sudden, this team's playing good. He goes, Oscar, they should be 3-2.
One win.
They should have beat Dallas. That's his whole thing. We should have beat Dallas, and we should have never lost to the Commanders.
One win changes the narrative. It's
so then
funny how that works.
I said, if that's the case, y'all would be 4-1 right now. So
there's always things you can look back on in football games and say to yourself, if this happened,
so Mikey,
if that happened.
Matthew, Alexi, that game at the end of the month got a whole lot more interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're taking a trip out to the Berg for the Steelers versus the Giants. And when you look at both team situations, after the Steelers take the L on Sunday night and the Giants get the win.
Bro, stayed up till 1 a.m. for that.
And you're saying to yourself, when these two teams play each other, they're probably only going to be separated by a game and a half, maybe. Oh, thank God. Sorry. Foul ball by Cabrera that goes off to the side. 2-2 count. 2 men on base. Top of the 6th. 2 outs in a 2-2 ball game between the Royals and the Yankees. That game has a lot more meaning to it. Giants should be 4-1, Mike D says. How do you guys are all in. How do you feel about Monday Night Football going up against the Bengals team that's reeling and needs a win? Like, what is your confidence level going into this game? Is your confidence level higher than it was when you were going up against the Seahawks after the win in Seattle? How are you feeling about this matchup? Do you think that you're going to get dog walked by the Bengals, or do you feel like the Giants do have a legitimate shot to go into this matchup, go to 3-3, and completely just reset their season and what it's been to this point? What's up, Ant? What's going on, bro? Thanks for checking in. We're live, man. We're shooting from the hip here. Barely got any notes written down. Didn't feel like I needed them for an episode like tonight. It's October baseball going on. Cabrera with a pop-up, and it remains a 2-2 ball game as we go to the bottom of the 6th, unfortunately. Defense will be the deciding factor.
Bengals defense is ranked 26th in the NFL for total defense. They give up an average of 365.4 yards a game. They're 31st after 5 games in defensive success rate. They're 30th after 5 games after points allowed per drive. Their third down defense is 31st after 5 games. Whew. That's bad.
I'm about to share the podcast and grab myself another beer.
So, the only teams worse than the Cincinnati Bengals right now in the NFL are the 27th ranked Eagles, 28th ranked Panthers, 29th ranked Rams, 30th ranked Buccaneers, and a lot of that Buccaneers yardage is due to the fact of Kirk Cousins' 500-yard passing game last Thursday. The Bengals' pass defense gives up 214 yards a game, and their rushing defense gives up a solid 151 yards a game. So the key to success for the New York Football Giants is to run the ball down Cincy's throat, and then come off with some play actions, hit Slayton deep, hit Wan'Dale Robinson. It'd be nice to see Jalen Hyatt. Like, Jalen Hyatt was such a decent rookie last year that where did he go? He's completely been disappeared. So, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Giants got a shot to win Sunday night.
I can believe you saying it. Because I can't remember the last time you picked the Bengals to win a game.
They're terrible
Unless they're going up against somebody you hate more, like the Browns.
They're 1-4.
They are.
I
They
was
are
rooting for them
1-4.
to beat the Ravens this week.
They are 1-4.
I wanted them to both be 2-3.
As a Titans fan, I love to see the chaos going across the board in the AFC right now. You got the Jets firing their coach. You got the Bills playing like shit. You got Nico Collins going. I don't love the fact that he's going on IR. I don't love that part. But I'm curious to see what happens moving forward with Houston, because their defense is on point, and their defense went out there and they took what they saw from the Baltimore Ravens Buffalo Bills game. They applied it to their matchup. And let's just say that as a Josh Allen owner in multiple leagues, I'm not feeling so great. I'm getting a little nervous. About our boy Josh, and not just our boy Josh, but that offense as a whole, because
it looked bad.
Minus
the Keon Cole.
My boy Miguel, one of the biggest Bills fans that I know. I went and hung out with him to watch the Phillies game on Sunday, and he walked away from the game between the Bills and the Texans saying to himself, what the hell did I just watch? Because the Buffalo Bills proceed to 3 times try to throw the ball with the last possession that they had of the game, and then punt the ball away over to the Houston Texans, to where the Texans just had to get close enough to get the game-winning field goal, and that's exactly what they did. The Texans with a huge win over the Buffalo Bills this past week. And if I was a Buffalo Bills fan, Nico on IR is killing me in like 4 leagues. I know it is, dog, because that's your boy, and I know your guys. You don't just draft them in one spot; you got them all over. So
I have Nico in 2 leagues.
that IR spot is filled across the board.
I have a team where I got Nico, Puka, and Pittman. The Finer Things Club.
The Pittman thing hurts because that shit came out of nowhere. Like, I thought everything was good. It's Wednesday. And
how are we just hearing about this now?
You're hitting me with a notification on Wednesday about the fact that this guy's got the back issue going on.
Get Josh Downs
and IRs. And the day that waivers are processed, you're telling me.
Because now you got to wait for because now whoever didn't make a waiver claim gets first dibs.
Yeah. Pretty much. Unless he's just out there in the open, like up for grabs, because once the waivers process, it's free pickings, going into Thursday night football, going into Sunday night football. The Michael Pittman messes with me specifically. The Nico Collins thing, not so much, because I wasn't able to draft him in a lot of spots. But for the Bills, man, like, they didn't have Keon Coleman, and it was one of those things where you go into the Stephon Diggs revenge game and you got nothing. And not to mention, James Cook did not practice today.
Nope.
Their best offensive weapon to this point did not practice. So maybe you guys can open your eyes to the reality of Dalton Kincaid. Maybe that can be a thing, because Dalton Kincaid up until this point hasn't done shit. Like, people talk about Mark Andrews. Hello. I think him and Mark Andrews and Dalton Kincaid's fantasy points overall are not that far off from each other.
Listen, if the Giants can beat the Bengals this week, next week they got a big matchup against the Eagles.
Yeah. And I expect the Eagles to win this week against the Browns team that is, horrible.
Putrid.
Absolutely horrible. The fact that the Eagles defense is a good play this week says a lot about what the Browns are. I'm glad that I traded away Deshaun Watson this week. Thank God. Got that out of sight, out of mind. I don't have to deal with that anymore. But yes, it sets up a huge showdown for the New York Football Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, a Philadelphia Eagles that we know have a lot of holes in them, a team that in the last couple of years, they've split with the Giants in their matchups. And I mean, it just, either way, it's going to be a big game for the Giants no matter what, if they win or lose on Monday, because the Giants can lose to the Bengals on Monday. An AFC team is not going to affect you in the NFC playoff picture. And then it's still a huge monumental matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles the following week. You still have the opportunity to pull the rug out from under them. Andrews is projected like 8 points this week. Tito, I remember he was getting like 12s, 13s.
Yeah.
Rookie Spencer Rattler to start for the Saints this week. Looking over at this guy, because he's gonna be the crash dummy when it comes to Spencer Rattler among us. Because in our 2-quarterback league, Oscar O'Money,
Matt Stafford's on break, man.
went out and went for him. Derek Carr, he's gonna miss multiple weeks. Like, we gotta do what we gotta do. Like, we got to go into waivers. And
I got Baker, though. Hopefully, Baker can give me another 40-point game.
The waivers are starting to look like Camden, New Jersey after dark, man. It's getting scary out there. It's getting scary by the waterfront, and there's not much left out there. So, in 2-quarterback leagues, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be starting O'Donnell, that are going to be starting Rattler. Like, you're not going to have an option. This week, we have the Vikings on a bye, the Chiefs on a bye, the Rams on a bye, and what's the other team that I'm missing? There's one more team. We got 4 teams on bye this week. It's Chiefs, it's Vikings, it's Rams.
Trivia alert. That was Giancarlo's first stolen base since 2020.
Giancarlo Stanton just messed around and stole a base today, dog. And he didn't even steal it fast. He jogged the second, and the Royals just – the Royals probably never imagined – Dolphins. Thank you, Chris. So it's Dolphins, Vikings, Rams, and Chiefs. Keep drawing a blank. I'm sorry. There's too much going on. I keep drawing a blank. But those are huge fantasy implications. And we want to talk about returns and everything. Like, in week 7, week 8 potentially, we could see the return of none other than Tua Tagovailoa, which for a lot of people would be a massive deal when it comes to the fantasy investment that we all put into the Miami Dolphins players. It means a lot for the running backs. It means a lot for Tyreek Hill. It means something for Jalen Waddle because maybe we can get one of those signature,
Speaking of that,
Jalen Waddle
let's see what
40-point games.
is on that.
But the rumor mill is saying that Tua Tagovailoa, I'll go on a limb and say Tua will be back before CMC is back. Like this whole CMC thing, I don't know, bro. Like I just don't know.
Tua is expected to meet with experts this week as he nears his return. There's some expert consultation that he has scheduled for this week. The final stages of protocol won't be achieved until we bring him back off of IR.
So they're going to do their due diligence because they know that there's heat on them because of, past transgressions by this organization and their inability to protect players. And it's Tua. So you got to be cautious with the situation because of everything that we've seen when it comes to Tua.
He's expected to be out week 8.
So you'll have the bye week, maybe another week of Tyler Huntley, which is
Miami
good news
Dolphins
for Mikey.
Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has been on injured reserve due to the concussions sustained in week 2 and is on track to practice in 2 weeks. The first day he's eligible to return, Perkins has stated.
Perkins. Kendrick Perkins?
Nah, I don't. Who the hell is Chris Perkins?
Chris Perkins. So you have that return looming. And, I mean, it couldn't come at a better time when you look at...
He won't be able... The next actual game he'll have a chance to actually play in is the Cardinals game.
You look at the situation around the league with the quarterbacks that got hurt, the quarterbacks that got benched this week, and you can't wait for some of the returns that they're talking about, especially if you're one of those people that was coasting off of, Sam Darnold all season so far, or a Matthew Stafford.
Jalen Wright ran 86 yards on 13 carries in that game, and Raheem Mostert had 80 yards on 19 carries.
Oh boy, Jalen Wright. Traded for him last week, and I'm loving it.
I know it's not a lot, but Tyreek Hill had 69 yards off of 6 catches.
I mean, I'm not benching him, so I was like, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like I haven't benched Tyreek Hill yet. I'm benching him this week because he's on a bye, but I don't bench Tyreek Hill. I take the points that he gives me.
Tyreek almost made a crazy ass touchdown catch on Sunday.
The crazy shit is, ground ball out by Gleyber Torres, 2 outs in the top of the 7th here as Soto comes up to bat. The crazy thing is, I have a league where I have Pacheco on IR, Devontae Adams, who hasn't played for 3 weeks. I've lost count. Not even sure. Joe Mixon, who's been gone for 2 weeks. I have all these players.
I cut Cam Akers finally, and then he scores.
I have all these players assembled together, and I'm 4-1 in that league with a bunch of guys that I haven't even been able to start.
Yeah,
and I also have Tyreek Hill in that league. So it's there's nobody to bench Tyreek Hill for. There's no better option, okay? This guy, at worst, we're talking about top 20 wide receivers in the league at worst. And that, I mean, I wanted to say 15, but it's just one of those things where I've been able to survive the Tyreek Hill situation without having to bench him, knowing that I don't have any better options out there, and just biding my time and waiting for the return of Tua Tagovailoa because apparently he truly is the key to this offense being able to run properly. These guys.
I was going to make a trade earlier. I was gonna offer Hill for Justin Fields and probably another player, but at the last minute I said I'm just gonna wait it out. Especially after the game Jamar Chase had on the Money Sports, I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait this out.
I got an offer last week.
2-3. Let me see what I can do.
I got an offer last week, it was interesting.
And on the Money Sports, there's only 3 teams locked in right now that are doing excellently well for the playoff. Got their.
Yeah, I got to beat Gabe this week.
The 4, 5, 6 seeds are up for grabs.
I definitely got.
They really are
this week.
As of right now, the 4, 5, 6 seeds are up for grabs. You can have one win, and if you can get on a roll, you're in there.
I'm in a division where there's 2 teams that are 4-1, Gabe and Mikey. I'm 3-2 going up against one of the 4-1 teams. So I need a big win this week going up against Gabe and his team that, it's electric this year. It ain't like years past. He had the Super Bowl hangover last year. He's back in the mix this year.
Seems good.
I know what a threat that he could be as far as fantasy football goes. So I got to be ready for it.
He won this week, or he won because he had that monster game from Kirk Cousins.
I left Kirk Cousins on the bench in True Legends with 74 points, and I still won by 2 points in my league. I could have in True Legends, I could have destroyed Nick, but I just, I left a lot of points on the bench. That was the story of my week. I somehow in all my leagues went 6-3 with leaving a ton of points. I left Darnell Mooney on the bench this week. I left Kirk Cousins on the bench. So it's like I didn't get to experience a lot of the excitement that a lot of people were dealing with some of these players, realizing like, yeah, I'm holding on to this guy. Like I held on to him. I didn't generate the points from him. As we get a mound visit here from Kansas City to their pitcher, as Soto was just walked. He got one man on first, 2 outs in the top of the 7th with Aaron Judge up to bat. A man whose playoff numbers are hideous to this point, but with one swing of the bat, he could make all the difference in the world, not just for his numbers, but for the New York Yankees. It's
how
just
Rodriguez will have
big.
Amazing regular seasons and then the playoffs.
Yeah, but and I'm not an Alex Rodriguez guy. The difference is Alex Rodriguez got us a home run in the World Series. Like Aaron Judge hasn't done that. I can't stand A-Rod. He is my least favorite Yankee of all time. The time period that he spent with us for us to just get one ring out of that irks me to this day. But A-Rod, that home run that he got in 2009 in the World Series, I shut up that night. Because it was like, there it is. That's the one thing you needed to do, and you did it. So you know what? Whatever. Like, whatever, man.
It was an angry, happy
It's amazing. Yeah. It was just a quiet moment where I'm happy about the New York Yankees. I still dislike the guy, but at the same time, I can't help but appreciate what he did in that moment for the team at that time. If Tua gets another concussion, I'm shutting him down the rest of the season.
I think he gets another concussion. I think his family will make him retire.
You got to think about life after football, man. All the studies and all the science and all the money put into the advanced research done to be able to protect these players and study the human mind after it takes and absorbs all these hits. There's only so many times you're going to be able to let that guy go back out there. And as far as the family, as far as the organization, I don't know what you do because the guy just got paid a handsome amount of money and he's not trying to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
So he, not to put it that way, but he's also a crash dummy as far as, moving forward, what happens as far as him.
They got Brady Singer in there. Ooh.
And the Royals choose to put one of the starters.
It's fitting for an Aaron Judge moment right
Brady
here.
Singer, who is not part of the rotation for the playoffs, but is a starter for the Royals, is going out there right now, and he may potentially pitch a couple of innings here for the Royals in a deadlock 2-2 ball game. Runner on first.
144 RBIs.
0-1 count. Judge swinging, foul ball tip.
144 RBIs.
Needs something from the big man. Big time. Like, needs something. One swing. One swing can change the entire narrative of the playoffs if you're able to bring it home for us. He throws it to the ground. You still got to be careful, even though he's in a slump. It's Aaron Judge. One swing can change everything. So Singer right now, trying to do what he does. Probably the 4th or 5th best pitcher that they have, but it's a luxury to be able to say that Brady is your 4th or 5th best pitcher. Credit to Waka and Seth Lugo and what those guys have been able to do for this baseball team to this point. This is a sweat, ladies and gentlemen. This is the MLB postseason. Live emotion, live reaction. And I don't know if they are thinking maybe walk Judge and go to Wells. Hopefully Wells can make them pay, but we got a full count here on Aaron Judge. If you're going to swing, make that motherfucker count and take the ball with you, bro.
He's dropping MFers on the podcast, ladies.
If you're going to swing.
And gentlemen.
Nope.
Oh,
he called him out. Oh, my God.
Oh, look.
Boone's
about
to
go out,
bro. Boone's about to freak out. I thought he held.
What? I don't need a better.
I thought he held.
I need a better angle.
That's not even reviewable, though. It's just like that's not reviewable. It's not like a catch.
Yeah,
on
but
the
at
field.
least
like,
give me another.
Nothing.
When we come back from
There's
break,
nothing we
I
can
want
do
to see
about
another
that.
angle.
Oh my god. Oh, that hurt. I thought he checked his swing.
Oof.
And we were going to get another guy on base for Austin Wells. And he just, I mean, I guess when you're not hitting, you just can't catch a break. So what can you do, right? You ain't getting the calls. You know, that's rough right there. We're going to the bottom of the inning right now. I don't know who's due up for the Royals, but it's a 2-2 baseball game right now. It's definitely a sweat. There's going to be a lot of sweats this weekend. We have our first divisional matchup of the year coming up against the Indianapolis Colts.
Big matchup.
4 quarterbacks. Any combination of those 4 quarterbacks could be the starters.
I got my eye on Mason Rudolph still for on the waiver wire.
I do know that both Anthony Richardson and Will Levis both practiced today. So as far as
they
a trend,
said that if you guys didn't have the bye week, Mason Rudolph would have started last weekend.
Mm-hmm. He would have. He absolutely would have.
And I would have picked him up.
This is big for us
for a big game.
Did the Colts lose to the? No, the Colts beat the Jags.
Yeah, on the last. They lost. The Jaguars won.
The Colts are 0-2 in the division.
Yeah, the Jaguars beat them. The Jaguars have 1 win, just like y'all. They're keeping pace with you guys.
No matter how many stupid turnovers Will Levis had in the first couple weeks of the season, all the stupid bullshit that he did, all the memes, the weekly memes about Will Levis. If we go into this football game in Tennessee and beat the Colts and go 2-3,
your spicy prediction of Juwan Johnson getting a touchdown in the group chat, in the system chat, I did it. And guess what? That was what didn't hit my parlay.
I'm sorry.
Xavier Worthy scored.
I'm sorry.
Rashid Shaheed scored.
Ugh.
And Juwan Johnson did not.
Xavier Worthy was spicy. I like it. I'm sorry. I apologize for it. I was feeling good about it.
I fell asleep, so I couldn't cash out.
I was feeling good about it, but also like where it was like I straight bet it feeling good.
So
not
I feel
like
as though
that I parlayed it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
I parlayed his total receiving yards.
I hurried up and bet on Sunday, which I should have never did. I lost all my bets because I was so focused on another project in my home.
This guy forgot it. He forgot it was Sunday. Honestly, he forgot that it was Sunday.
I was too focused on something else.
That was amazing. that was like actually amazing. But that's what happens when your team doesn't kick off until midnight. You got all day to just be left to your own devices.
Why are you not giving us a better shot, though?
I want to see it over the plate. I want to see the swing over the plate. I think we might have just gotten screwed, and I'm not one to complain about calls.
Why are they not showing it, though?
It's not my nature to complain about calls, ladies and gentlemen, but I feel like that was a screw job. Was Lawrence's 25th birthday that day? Jaguars have the London game. They're going back to London. That's like their home field. They've got the Chicago Bears at 9:30 in the morning.
That's a big game. Chicago's 3-2, ain't they?
And their defense is good, bro.
The Chicago Bears are 3-2. Caleb Williams is now. Oh, we just had it and missed it. Hold on, let me see if I can go back.
No, don't go back. Just play it. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't care about it. It's old news.
Caleb Williams has now gone back-to-back 300-yard passing yards in this season. It's the first time any Bears.
We saw a lot of overthrows in the first couple weeks, but this week we saw a big game from DJ Moore.
Him and DJ Moore, but then DJ Moore got hurt.
Story of his life, right?
Yeah.
This year is not going to give you
wide
everything.
The wide receivers are getting into action, and Cole Kmet's just
not Keenan Allen
sidestepping out.
Keenan Allen didn't do a damn thing.
And all of a sudden, DeAndre Swift, last 2 weeks, looking like RB1, like he's balling right now, and it's in the ground game and it's in the pass game.
He's interesting.
I said from the rip, like I didn't think the Eagles needed to spend the money on Barkley. I thought DeAndre Swift did enough for them last season to be earning a contract, which would have been cheaper than Barkley, and you might have been able to get some defensive help.
I think Swift will be putting up numbers with the Eagles right now.
Yeah, he was putting up numbers last year.
Decent.
I know his touchdowns didn't look good because Jalen Hurts was vulturing all of them.
I'm not saying their record would be any better.
Jalen Hurts probably vultured like 8 of DeAndre Swift's touchdowns.
And the fact that he's not vulturing Barkley's touchdown because Barkley is running for big touchdowns. Like, it's not goal line shit. Once you get into the red zone,
Caleb's
and
not
the goal
thinking
line,
about running. Caleb's thinking about passing.
Yeah.
So far,
credit to him.
I've
They're
been
3-2.
very hard on the kid, but he's been balling the last couple of weeks.
That's a great division, bro. The NFC North has no weakness right now.
The Vikings are 5-0.
Your worst record is what, 3-2?
The Lions are 3-1 because they had the bye week. I still trust the Vikings over all those other teams. I mean, the Lions over all those other teams.
If anything, the Vikings are the Packers are the sus team because you haven't been able to win a game yet with your franchise quarterback.
You forced him back early, which didn't make sense because Malik Willis was playing well enough.
There it is. That's a stamp right there. That's one of those things where you go back and you look at the situation.
On that statement.
You're not.
They forced him back. The only reason they won this week, like I said, the Rams have nobody on offense.
Malik is 2-0 as a starter.
So
let that sink in.
What is he supposed to do? Stafford has no one to throw the football to. So now the Packers may be, like he said, the weakest team in this division right now until Jordan Love gets healthy. And it's going to be a while because Jordan Love is going to continue to play through this. And honestly, it's not going to let it heal any quicker. If I was the Packers, I would have just let them sit out the last 2 weeks. You're 1-1. You're going to win 1-1 with Malik Willis. And then this week you could have brought him back, and he'd been a hell of a lot healthier than he is now. You rushed him back. He doesn't look good. I would not be surprised if the Arizona Cardinals went into the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field and beat the Packers. I expect, this is crazy, I expect the Chicago Bears to beat Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. There should be no reason why the Bears, because the Bears right now are the better team than Jacksonville. They should beat them. They should be 4-2 after this weekend. You got the Lions in that division also going up against the Cowboys. They should beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys are probably going to be without Parsons again. They're going to be without D-Law. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery should eat this weekend.
Oh, I didn't think about Montgomery.
They should eat.
Montgomery scores a touchdown every time he plays football.
And Sun God is going to open things up for Sam Laporta. I think Laporta, 60 yards and a touchdown this weekend.
Oh, parlay it. Parlay it, tough guy.
I will.
Parlay it, and I will tail it. Because I'm all about the tight ends succeeding. We haven't really had a Sam Laporta signature game.
It's coming this.
Trey McBride is not doing it right now.
Sunday afternoon.
Brock Bowers last week went out there and freaking balled. So whoever the starter is for the Raiders, I don't really give a shit. Let Bowers cook, bro. Because in the absence of Devontae Adams, while they figure out a trade, their wide receiver one is Brock Bowers. I like Jacoby. Jacoby's my boy. I got Jacoby stashed because he gets the name, the title of wide receiver one. But in True Legends, Brock Bowers drops 57 points for me from the starting spot. Is it acting up?
Yeah.
I keep hearing the sound.
I gotta get the flush.
I didn't put anything in it.
Nah.
I didn't put anything in it. Chris Bubich coming up for the Kansas City Royals here in the top of the 8th inning. As we break everything down, I know Old Money was in the midst of breaking down the scenario for the NFC North, which all of a sudden has become the most fascinating of the divisions because of the fact that you've got 4 football teams that are for the most part winning football games. The wild card at this moment being the Green Bay Packers with their situation and the potential storyline of did they bring or they rush Jordan Love back, too soon. On top of the news that broke as far as Romeo Doubs and him being unhappy about his situation and the fact that they basically put him on ice
Omar,
this past week.
For Romeo Doubs. If you can't get Devontae Adams, go for Romeo Dobbs.
You know,
I think Dobbs is a good enough guy that you put him on the field with George Pickens, it should amount to some offense.
I think that would be a good low-budget type of move that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be able to do with another team that, for the most part, is old school and doesn't like to spend money. You know what I mean? Like a Green Bay Packers.
And then that just elevates Wicks.
We need somebody to get on base before we get out, guys. Come on, Wells. You're staring at pitches that you should be swinging at, and then you're swinging at the pitches that are hitting the dirt. Wake up. Vikings going into the bye week, a good opportunity for the Detroit Lions up against the Dallas Cowboys, who got a big win against you guys that they really needed because that offense leading up to that was super one-dimensional.
I would have rather beaten the Colts and had lost to the Cowboys, and I said that on this podcast. I don't care when we lose to the NFC.
Well, you lost to both.
I know.
You lost to both.
So we got to go to Vegas. I don't care who the hell the quarterback is. It's Aiden freaking O'Connell. Get your ass in there. Sack this guy 5 times.
Can't lose though.
Win this game. I don't even care if it's 20-17. Win this game.
This is a 13-6.
Let's get the 4-2. Let's get the 4-2. Get back to the friendly confines of Acrisure Stadium and bring on the Jets. Because guess what? The Jets ain't doing much either.
That's who you play after this week?
We have both New York teams back to back.
That's good shit. And I think that there's the same way that the Giants game is going to mean a lot to you guys. I think the Jets game is going to mean a lot to you guys because don't be surprised if the New York Football Jets pull off a Monday Night Miracle with their new interim coach. And
that's normally how it is.
They beat a Buffalo Bills team that doesn't have a wide receiver one. Are we how confident are we in Buffalo to go in there?
The Buffalo Bills were a facade for the first 3 weeks of the season.
Let's go, Stan! Let's go! A solo shot from Giancarlo Stanton after a 3-1 count, and the New York Yankees take the 3-2 lead over the Kansas City Royals in the top of the 8th inning. It couldn't have come at a better time when we needed it the most. The big man delivers. Not only does he get a stolen base, he gets a solo shot in one of the hardest fields in the league to hit a home run in, because that had to have gone at least 450 feet for crying out loud. That field is so big.
It's tough.
Like their outfielder he kept running. The outfielder kept running out. Like that field is massive. The shot in the arm the New York Yankees needed, and the Yankees take the 3-2 lead in one of the biggest stages of the baseball game with only 1 out remaining. 1 out documented, and Chisholm up to bat now. And the ump is just calling some crazy shit as far as strikes. The big man powers it out of the park.
That sucks.
That's big.
That's great for you, but damn, 3-1. You're 3-1. Just let the big man get on base. Like that was retarded on them.
He's trying to get the out because the thing is, Stanton is going to swing.
It's 2 outs,
and that's why he strikes out. He strikes out on the same pitches that he hits home runs on. That's him. That's what life with Stanton is. That could easily have been a strike if the timing isn't there, but he swung at it like he would, and it was. I mean, I guess he just didn't want to. He didn't want to put a guy on the bag. And he's talking his shit in the dugout.
He's having a great series.
Chisholm with the pop-up.
And
he's not really having a great series, but he's having a great game because the stolen base by him was great. That's as crazy as the home run. Like he was just going through the motions, dog. Like you don't feel him running. You can't feel that next to you. That big-ass dude.
Yeah, the North is crazy for the NFC.
It is. And it's crazy because of the fact that it has direct implications to what's going on with the West, which is what makes the Seahawks and 49ers game even bigger. And the fact that the Cardinals have 2 wins over the Rams and the 49ers. And
the division.
Do we know who's going to win the West?
And the closest division to us, the NFC East, you got
my sleeper. You
got the 4-1 Commanders, the 3-2 Cowboys.
They're nice, dog.
The 2-2 Eagles, right?
I think. Oh yeah, the Cowboys are ahead of the Eagles, and then are the Eagles in last place right now?
Yes, because they're 2-2. They had the bye week. And the 2-3
Philly, y'all in last place, and the
Giants.
Phillies got eliminated. Who y'all got, bro?
Well,
Who y'all got for real?
They do got the Browns. So
The Sixers?
They should be
I'm talking about
3-2.
Philly sports. Like, who do they have to believe in at this point?
The Eagles will win this week. They'll be 3-2. They'll have a winning record again.
If the Eagles lose this game, you can't. There's no way you can make the Browns look good. There's
If
no
the
way in
Eagles
hell.
lose to the Browns,
Oh,
Nick Sirianni gets fired Sunday night.
I don't think Roseman is ready to do it, bro.
I think.
I don't think Howie. They're
as
gonna play it out. They're
if
gonna play it
Deshaun
out.
Watson comes out,
4
throws
touchdowns.
2 touchdown passes and like 280 in the air.
325.
Bro,
Just
just pack it in.
airing it out.
Just pack it in.
Amari Cooper, 2 touchdowns.
And I'm not Deshaun
There's no
Watson's
way.
biggest fan, but I will say a video
They're not
circulating
Patriots.
around
They're not
about, they wanted to go for a 4th down and he quit on the team and he didn't want to do it. If you look at the whole spectrum, they had 12 men on the field. At that point in the game, the score wasn't too out of hand for them to come back. He would have had to blow a timeout, and I think they would have been down to 1 timeout.
Volpe gets walked. Runner
So
on
that's
first.
why he
2
went.
outs.
That's why, he's seen there was 12 people because you could see Amari Cooper counting how many people are there. They would have never had a chance to get everything going and get the play ran.
The Eagles cannot lose to the Browns.
They can't.
The same way that I said that the
The
Seahawks
1
are the
and
get-right
4
game.
Browns.
The Seahawks are the get-right game for the 49ers. The Browns are the get-right game for the Philadelphia Eagles, who are in flux right
I
now as
agree.
an offense, who are getting torched as a defense. You are facing a lesser opponent in the Cleveland Browns. You cannot allow yourself to be the get-right game for the Cleveland Browns because there's no get-right game for the Browns. There is no get-right game for them. And if you become that, this team ain't getting a wild card spot. They're not. Look at what's happening in the NFC North. Look at what's happening in the NFC West. You can't just keep losing games and you're automatically going to have a spot that is going to be reserved for you on the NFC side. We're starting to realize now you have to have a nice record on the NFC side to get into the playoffs. The NFC playoffs this year are the Finer Things Club. You got to have a good record. You got to have at least 10 wins under your belt to be able to hold, maybe 9, but that's a 7 seed conversation. For the most part, though, you got to have the W's. And if you ain't winning football games, you're putting yourself in the hole, which last week's Thursday night football game was huge. This week's Thursday night football game, just as big. Only difference is it's a different division.
Now we're going to find out how real the Commanders are this Sunday.
Damn it, Cabrera.
It's not that I don't think
ball.
they're
You don't swing
real.
at that.
We're going to see them play a legit football team, a legit football contending team for a championship.
Well,
Not a team contending for playoffs.
Their only losses to the Bucks, and we don't doubt the Bucks anymore on this program.
Nah.
Like we know Tampa
Except
is
the Bucks
worthy.
blew it Thursday night.
They
when
blew
they were
it, but they
settling-
didn't get destroyed.
Yeah.
Like they were in that game. It
They
went into
blew it.
overtime.
What killed them was they settled for field goals in the second half as if they were going to win. Like I felt like the coaching staff was complacent with just, we'll just kick the field goal. We got this game in the bag, which they didn't because Kirk kept cooking. However, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers and company, this is going to be that Washington Commanders defense toughest test to date.
Well, they're the number 1 ranked scoring offense, so their defense has the window to make the mistakes, and
However,
it doesn't matter. Like their defense is
The
getting
Ravens
leads.
also gave a lot of yards this past weekend.
Is that the biggest NFC versus
The
AFC
Ravens
matchup?
also gave up 5 touchdown passes to Joe Burrow. So
Oh.
it's not like this is the Ravens defense of old either.
That pass defense is bad.
The only thing that's going to hurt Jaden Daniels is the fact that he's a rookie going up against a team like the Ravens.
Is it in Baltimore?
And let's not forget the Baltimore Ravens, or shall I say Lamar Jackson, is 20-1 against the NFC. 20-1 against the NFC in the regular season.
Ground ball by Verdugo to end a big inning.
Well, of
for
course,
the
it's the
Yankees.
regular season because you would have to play the Super team Super Bowl.
The NFC cannot figure Lamar Jackson out. They can't figure him out whatsoever. And the trend. What was the NFC that actually beat Lamar?
Whew, that's a good question.
Like, who actually has that win under their belt?
Let's do this.
He gives the NFC teams fits. You don't see him. You don't worry about him. You don't have to. The game is in Baltimore. Thank you, Julio. The game is in Baltimore, but I mean that's not a far.
Hear the laugh?
That's not a far road trip for the Commanders fans because they are. It's
got a laugh
like Pittsburgh
for you.
and Pennsylvania. They're Pittsburgh and Philly. What?
The only loss is the New York Football Giants 24-20 on October 16, 2022.
The New York Giants
Are the only team to beat
NFC
Lamar?
Lamar versus baby Lamar. Yeah, bro. You want to talk about fantasy football points and implications. Look no further than that football.
I'm sorry,
game.
he's 21-1.
Neither
Lamar is 21-1 against the NFC. After Sunday, he'll be 22-1.
Neither defense is great by a long shot. All they have to do is be average at best because you have two offenses that can score points. And all you've got to do is be able to come up with a big play at one point or another. Oh, imagine Derrick Henry against these guys. He's gonna break their will. He's gonna run all over this defense, bro. Hey, I toasted already, dog. I gave you the salute. You are the only NFC team that has a win over the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. And now you got the Maryland matchup between the Commanders and the Ravens this week.
That's crazy. The New York Football Giants are the only NFC team to beat Lamar.
Last week I said to myself that this could potentially be the week that the Commanders fall short. Jaden Daniels has been spectacular. The first couple of weeks of the season, he wasn't throwing it down the field. Now he is. Terry McLaurin is back into the mix. Like this team right now is 4-1. The team that I predicted was going to sneak into the playoffs as potentially a wild card team is the number one team in their division. But Henry, they don't have a body for Derrick Henry as far as the Washington Commanders. Like the Baltimore Ravens game plan is simple. As the ump just calls a very questionable strike against the Royals. I guess he's being consistent in the
fair.
I guess it was super low. Like, the game plan and the strategy for the Ravens is simple: run the rock, and make at least a couple of stops. But it's going to be interesting because I feel as though what Jaden Daniels does is the same thing that Lamar Jackson does, and that's keep defenses on their heels. You don't know where to be when you see this scrambling quarterback that could potentially run for it or now make the pass downfield to a legitimate wide receiver one in Terry McLaurin that people were dropping on their teams in the first couple of weeks. And I picked up Terry McLaurin on one of my waiver wires, and I am now 4-1 in the league that I picked him up in with Terry McLaurin as my wide receiver 3 or 4 because people were impatient. They weren't letting things develop and play out. You got the negative Nancys out there that are ready to call it quits after a couple of bad weeks. And sometimes, patience is a virtue, bro. I think if the Baltimore Ravens stick to the simple game plan, they're going to win this game. If Baltimore starts to get loosey-goosey, bro, we're potentially talking about my sleeper going 5-1. And at that point, if you're 5-1, you're not a sleeper anymore, dog. Like everybody needs to be wide awake to what you've got going on. Because 5-1 in an NFC East where I don't believe in the Eagles. They're 9-8 at best. Clearly, my take on the Dallas Cowboys winning that division is like Dallas is one-dimensional as hell. Ravens got great linebackers, so I think Jaden is going to have to get it done in the passing game. Good point, my friend. This is going to be one of those games where in order for Washington to have the shot to win the game, Jaden Daniels is going to have to make some big passes. This pass defense of the Ravens isn't scary though. So if he starts making those
They're
passes
number
down
one
the
against
field,
the rush, but they're 31st against the pass.
Baltimore's run defense is they're solid, bro. They look like that old school run defense that they had years ago. Like the Baltimore Ravens do not allow you to run the ball, but they give all that up with the passing yards. It reminds me of the Titans defense of 2019, 2020. Super stout in the middle, in that heart of that front seven, the point that Alex was making as far as their linebackers. But the corners and the safeties, besides Hamilton, who is now what? Hamilton's going into his third year right now, right? We watched him get drafted.
This is
second
his fourth year.
Kyle Hamilton's fourth? No, it's not his
He
fourth
came
year.
out the same year as Kenny Pickett. I should know.
Oh, shit.
They picked him.
Hamilton's a
Don't
dog.
get me started.
Hamilton's a dog. He is the best part of a secondary that needs a lot of help. It's crazy how the Baltimore Ravens get Derrick Henry and all of a sudden start to look like Titans teams of the past. And they say to themselves, we're not going to give Henry the ball 30 times. And to their credit, they're not. However, he's the most effective piece of that offense besides Lamar Jackson. Everybody remember when Zay Flowers was a thing? How's that going for you? Did you draft him? Are you starting him?
Lamar don't care about your fantasy football team.
It feels like Nelson Aguilar has more points than Zay Flowers does. He came out the same year as Jordan Davis, so it should be year 2 or 3. Yeah, I feel like we're talking about year 3 with Hamilton at this point, because we were at Wild Wings when Hamilton got drafted, weren't we?
No, we were here.
We were here.
It was Kenny. You weren't here. You were in shambles at Applebee's.
I was at work because we traded Treylon Burks to the Philadelphia. We traded AJ Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles for trade. Oh, there it is. It's all coming back to me now. Thanks. Yeah, it feels like it's 2 years, right? Like, I don't know, man.
He got drafted in 2021.
Okay. All right. Yeah, 2 years. Okay. So he's the best part of their secondary, which they don't have corners. So Kyle Hamilton is going to be getting paid overtime. Shout out to you. the worst draft day of my life.
This is his fourth year.
Kyle Hamilton is going to be working overtime.
They picked up his 5th year option
to
already.
Figure out where Scary Terry is going to be on the field, because Scary Terry is scary again, bro. He's scary. Anybody know who the wide receiver 2 for Washington is? Me neither. And we're talking about a 4-1 football team who doesn't even have a wide receiver 2. They don't. Their wide receiver 2 is Luke McCaffrey.
Yep.
That's their wide receiver 2, the rookie. Like they're such a basic offense that it goes over people's heads when you actually have to play them, because they're so basic. They're so good at what they do as far as those basic things. Like, don't look now. Austin Eckler's out there putting in work. McNichols. Like, they have, if anything, they have a 3-headed monster as far as how they want to move the ball, like running. And Bobby Witt just gets a base hit. Big base hit for the Royals here in the bottom of the 8th. Big hit for Bobby Witt, who, like Judge, has been terrible so far in the playoffs. I don't think it's been 4 years. It's 2021, he said. So it's been.
Yeah,
this is
this is his 4th year.
Okay.
He's currently playing his 4th year in the league.
Damn. Yeah, there's a lot of angles to take as far as that matchup goes. Definitely. But we are in for a roller coaster of a week of football here in week 6, with the Rattler getting the start for the Saints, not knowing what to expect there. O'Donnell getting the start for the Raiders in a matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where it feels like for some reason or another, it's like, what a catch by Anthony Volpe for the second out of the inning as Bobby Witt goes back to the first base.
My bad.
Little Jimmy. Sleeper says 2 as well. No, I think you're right with the timeline.
He's right. He is.
You're right with the timeline of it.
I'm thinking of
Either way,
else.
he's like the most developed player on the back end of their defense. But, you know, when you're building a defense, I guess you'd rather shore up the front seven and then figure out the rest because you have an offense in Baltimore that can definitely score the points. Isaiah Likely, 2 more touchdowns this past week.
Catch.
That was an amazing catch by Anthony Volpe. Little Jimmy coming through in the clutch there. As we technically have our new closer, Luke Weaver, out there. 2 outs, 1-0 count
6-out
on
save.
Salvi Perez.
He's already got 3 outs.
He did the 4 outs the other night in our win.
Look old as hell.
I mean, credit to him. To play this long at the catcher position, the only remaining player left on the Royals. He got him to chase. The only remaining player left on the Royals from the 2015 World Series team, a Kansas City Royals team that went to the World Series back-to-back years. It's just nobody remembers the year that they lost. And Salvi is the MVP of the 2015 World Series at that.
Damn.
And, you know,
he's everything right now.
He's swinging like an MVP right now because he knows that his team needs that big hit. And when it comes to big hits, it's either going to be Witt, it's going to be Pasquantino, it's going to be Salvi. A 1-2 count right now up against Salvi. Bottom of the 8th, 2 outs. Bobby Witt on first base. We're giving you the live reaction to the ALDS Game 3 here in a huge matchup. Best of 5 series.
Got to protect the plate now if you're him. And he pops up.
A pop-up that is probably going to be out of reach, and it is out of reach. Saved by the cameraman, as it's still a 1-2 count. Oh. Kyle Hamilton is prolific at his position.
I don't know. Call me an old fogey, but
Hamilton is
not
prolific.
Like advertisements on uniforms. I don't like it at all.
That's just where we are now. You know, that's not something that we grew up with, but that's where we are now. But yeah, I love Kyle Hamilton. I would love Kyle Hamilton to be wearing the 2-tone blue because having a safety like that out there is just, like you said, as far as his tackling ability, being a ball hawk, like having that type of a Ed Reed type of energy to him. He's still young, so it's tough, man. You're going into Baltimore's culture to follow the footsteps of some of the legends that played on some of those defenses. That's tough, but I feel like Kyle Hamilton truly is the next guy. Like he's like the Randy Orton when it comes to base hit.
And that was way out of the strike
Bobby
zone.
Witt going to third. Super aggressive. Can't blame him for that.
Way out of the strike zone, and he got that.
He was swinging out of the strike zone the entire time. He was waiting to get his big hit. He got it. And now with 2 outs, you've got runners on the corners. Bottom of the 8th here. Biggest at bat of the ball game. Decisions probably being made and discussed in the bullpen right now and in the dugout as far as what to do next here and we got a mound visit, which I figured that was going to be the case. Ump walking up to the mound to break it up. It's crazy. Like, your only job as an umpire is just to be a dickhead, which is absolutely, I feel like I would thrive as an umpire because you're not taking sides. You're just the heel on both sides of the platform. And it's like your only job is to just be a total dick to both sides of the team, especially with some of the strikes that these umpires have been calling in tonight's game. Aaron Boone chewing his bubble gum, trying to fight back the demons. Trying his best not to freak out, keeping it calm. Definitely, my boy has done a great job of not getting ejected this year. He was on a record-setting pace last year as far as his ejections. When he got ejected in the Peacock 12:30 afternoon baseball game, I was like, yo, there's no limit to this guy, yo. There's no limit to this guy.
That man wanted to get into the shower and just sit back and relax. Whoo!
Nah, he got under
He
that
was
one.
Way too early on that.
He definitely got under that one. That one goes wide.
And he knows it too.
Dodgers up 3-0 at the end of the second. So, Dodgers coming through in the clutch in San Diego.
The number 2 seed in the National League is out. Will the number 1 seed in the National League be out?
Dodgers would be the first seed to get past the bye.
And he went under that
Huge pop-up for Gurriel as it is caught by none other than Aaron Judge, and we are going to the top of the ninth. And I got to use the bathroom again because I'm 4 beers in. It's time for all the money picks, basically.
Yes, it is. So let's go over because we're about to bring this podcast home. We're taking it home. Take the match home. So let's look at overall. Last week I went 3-2 on the money picks to make my record 15-10. I am now a +5 on the year for picks. So last week the Bucks blew it and the Rams blew it late. So with that being said, if a game that we've already talked about today, the Ravens and Commanders, I am taking Baltimore. I am taking Lamar Jackson to go 22-1 against the NFC. I don't think this game should be a blowout. I hope it's not a blowout. I want to see another nice, entertaining game like we saw this past weekend with Ravens and Bengals. Excuse me. So, again, I got the Baltimore Ravens defeating the Washington Commanders. And my second on the money pick, I'm picking the Lions over the Cowboys, where the Steelers' offense was anemic. The Lions' offense isn't anemic, and the Lions' offense should take advantage of most likely Parsons being out again and D-Law being out. So, and I anticipate them to use, because they have the better offensive line, I anticipate them to use Gibbs, Montgomery, very successful, set up some play action pass. I think Sam Laporte is in for a big day. So I got the Lions over the Cowboys. Next, I got the Eagles over the Browns. I'm giving you guys the push. I'm giving you the pen, and I'm letting you book this weekend. And this weekend, I'm booking you a win against Cleveland. Tomorrow night, I got the 49ers for now fixing the ship and getting back to 3-3.
Damn, Mikey is 15-10, 4-1 last week.
We're right there.
The opposite of me, 1-4. What was your record last week?
3-2, but I'm 15-10.
I'm having a Super Bowl hangover from last year right now with my picks.
So,
what was your first pick?
I got, so tomorrow night, 49ers over Seahawks. My last pick is the Cardinals over the Packers. Cardinals got a little mojo going.
They do, bro. They got some,
and I'm still not totally sold on Jordan Love being healthy. I think they rushed them, and I think this could come back and hurt them later on down the road. So as a quick recap, I got the Ravens over the Commanders, Lions over the Cowboys, Eagles over the Cleveland Browns, 49ers over the Seahawks, Cardinals over the Packers.
Cardinals over the Packers. And what's your record overall?
15-10 like Mike.
15-10.
Because the last 2 weeks I've gone 7-3.
That's nice. You're on a good little heater with the picks as we go to the top of the ninth right now with the top of the lineup, which is basically the heart of the order for the New York Yankees.
Are the Yankees going to take that 2-1 lead?
And right now, Mikey and O Money killing me with the on the money picks. I went 1-4 last week. I actually have my picks from last week. The only one I got right was the Broncos against the Raiders. So now I'm going into this week with a total record of 10-15 on the money picks. And Julio, yes, we are absolutely praying for all of our friends and family right now who are, going through the crazy natural disasters happening right now in Florida with the hurricane that's turning into like multiple hurricanes and just everything that's happening out there, which like we're praying for you guys, hoping for the best. Stay in touch with your family, reach out, make sure that you're able to keep in touch with everybody out there. And if you have any loved ones out there, just know that we are praying for them as well. Mikey with the on the money picks for this week, he's got the Seattle Seahawks going up against the 49ers in a upset, which, I mean, when you look at how San Francisco is playing right now, it's a perfect time to get them while they're down. Ground ball out by Soto. Oh, he's safe. He's safe as he drops the basic play to get Soto out, whether it was the throw by Massey or it was the catch by the first baseman, Soto is on the bag safely. As Mikey is going in spicy with his first pick of the week being an upset by Seattle up against the 49ers, which would send shockwaves across the NFC. He also has the Ravens going over on the Commanders. He's got the Bucks going over on the Saints. He's got the Lions going over on the Cowboys. And his Monday night special is the Buffalo Bills getting it right, going up against the New York Football Jets on Monday Night Football in a matchup to basically determine who is in charge in the AFC East. For me, I'm going to start with one of the big matchups, a big AFC versus NFC matchup. Once again, I'm trying to redeem myself from my 1-4 this past week and being in last place in all the money picks. I've got the Ravens going over on the Commanders this week. I think that, Jaden Daniels still puts on a good performance this week, but I think the Ravens are the more experienced team with the overall better talent, and they're going to find a way to win this game. I also, at number 2, I've got the Detroit Lions beating the Dallas Cowboys. Detroit overall is just a better football team. And I feel like in this matchup, Detroit is not going to have to break out all the big guns. If Detroit can just run the ball, which it's been proven against the Dallas Cowboys defense, you can run the ball effectively. They are like bottom 5 as far as stopping the run. I've got Detroit winning that game. Monday night special, I'm going with the upset. I am taking the New York Football Jets to beat the Buffalo Bills, which is just going to make everything out there crazy with the post-game presser with Aaron Rodgers and everything. I think they're just going to make everything more murky than what it already is in the AFC. In London, 9:30 in the morning special, I've got the Chicago Bears beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then number 5, the only pick that I got right last week, so I'm riding with them again. I've got the Broncos beating the Chargers. So once again, my picks for this week are
Broncos are 3-2 too.
Broncos are 3-2, and they're getting pick sixes. It feels like every
Bo
week.
Nix is starting to
they're getting.
I think
pick
he needs
sixes
to take the handcuffs off of Bo Nix. I really do.
I think that's what Bo Nix was yelling at him about. It's like, yo, stop playing with me. Like, we can be like the defense is giving him the run support in a way, and he's responding by not being a total dunce
it's
out
so
there.
safe that Sean Payton's
3-2,
calls
bro.
right now are so safe.
They're 3-2.
And I think that's what he's mad about. Like, let me play.
He wants to go for the kill, and they're being super conservative.
Yeah,
which
I
it could
agree.
cost them in the long run. But, bro, when your defense is bringing back touchdowns for you, like, dog, you take some chances. That's like when you're up 14.
The Red Sox fire 6 coaches today.
Bravo. You have all the time in the world to do all that stuff when you're not competing in the playoffs. I get it. Bravo to the Red Sox. I'll see you next year. I expect them to be better next year. They're doing all these firings because they got egg on their face this year and they're embarrassed. That's why they're doing this, because there's talent there.
Oh, look, it's Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah. He's been around. White Sox, Phillies. He got a haircut, though. That's why you don't.
That cat threw that 140-pitch game with the Phillies. It was never the same after that.
He fucking blew his arm out.
He blew his arm out for the perfect game.
Yeah, we're going to be out, too.
That's a base hit.
No, it's not. It's not. So pop up to center field. Everybody stays in place.
We're about to be out,
on the
too.
money picks. We've got football tomorrow. Another big matchup. Hopefully another Amazon Classic that goes down to the wire. Top of the third, Dodgers added 2 more runs to be up 5-0. Yeah, Dodgers are doing their thing, and it's up 1 run here, 3-2. New York Yanks, top of the 9th, 2 outs. Giancarlo's up to bat with 2 men on base after fresh off of hitting the home run. Lorenzen is trying to avoid dealing with that shit again, so he's just throwing it at the dirt right now, because when it comes to this Yankees lineup, you sort of got to pick your poison with some of these hitters. And tonight, it's clear that Giancarlo is the hot bat. We gave you all the money picks. We gave you the rundown of some of the intriguing matchups for Week 6. We give you another interesting strike call as Giancarlo is like, come on, bro.
Oh, look at Boone.
Yo, they always have a camera ready to just pan in. It's like, is he gonna freak out? Is he gonna turn green?
Yeah, piggybacking off of what Julio just said, to all the Munises out there in Fort Myers, guys, please be safe. Please.
Yeah, man, for real. Be safe, guys.
I love you guys, and I hope all my cousins, aunts, uncles, please be safe.
Absolutely, man. Everybody be safe, and we will see you guys same time, same place next week on the Money Podcast, guys.
Guess what?